Welcome to the Cisco Learning Network. Let us walk you through some of the powerful features available to the community. The personalized homepage is focused on featuring the content you follow and engage with on a daily basis, as well as the valuable learning resources offered to support you in your learning journey. The training videos section quickly helps you find IT training videos on a variety of technology topics to help you in your Cisco certification studies. Find listings for live IT training webinars and events that you can attend in person. Learn on the go and stay a part of the community wherever you are with a mobile-friendly experience. Your community hub allows you to easily ask questions, share ideas, and connect with other members as you prepare for your certification exams. Sign up for upcoming live technical webinars by checking our latest events listings for continuous lifelong learning. Let us be your resource, guide, and community as you continue your career journey. The Cisco Learning Network, your lifelong learning IT community.
So what are some of these benefits of certification? We talked about, is IT right for you? Is this the kind of thing that you're getting into? But once you're in, why would you get certified? So you could learn the technology perhaps without getting certified, but why do you want to be certified? And we're going to go through a lot of these things in the slides coming up, and you're going to see how some of these words in this big word cloud here kind of fit in and really spell out that value for certification. But a lot of times it is show me the money. It's coming back to how exactly is this really going to benefit me? And just to let you know that the average US network engineer has a salary increase of 15% with certification. That's always going to vary, obviously, but that certified individual, and we'll see why, we'll talk about why in a few slides here, that certified individual does bring a lot of gravitas, and there is a need for that person, especially that person who is truly passionate and is truly on that lifelong learning journey. And that is why certification is so valuable to employers and thus to us, the individuals. And that brings us to confidence. Once you have that knowledge, you're confident in when someone asks for your opinion, when someone comes to you and says, what is the best way? Or in your opinion, how do you think we should solve this? Or what solution should we go for? Or what technology should we use in this particular area? Your answer with that certification, with that credential, brings you exude that confidence, and you can say, well, in my certified and my expert opinion or my professional opinion, this is what we should do and this is why. And you can bring that why over there, and then people look to you to say, I trust this person, I will use them, they've brought me good answers in the past, they clearly know what they're talking about, they're a key and critical member to our team. And then there's that value. It is that 360-degree value that's not just about what it does for you, because if it's giving you knowledge and it's giving you confidence, when you're in that interview, when you're doing that job, when you're putting out that metaphorical fire in the data center, you are more attractive to your organization, your knowledge, your skills, you're delivering instant value, which your employer says, this is fantastic. This person is someone who I can count on to deliver when we're tactically, when we're reactive. And I can also count on this person to be more forward thinking, more of a technologist. They bring up ideas, they bring up thoughts of how we can do things differently in our organization, how we can better use technology. And then no matter what organization, what company you're in, you have some group of customers, some group of stakeholders, be it the they're internal or they're external, and you bring value to them because you understand what they need, what they're going through, and how technology can be used to better improve that. So you're able to say, you know what, this is a challenge that our customers or users, let's use the word users, are seeing. This is how we might better improve that. That again goes back into that cycle, into that 360 degrees, where it's giving you, giving your employer back that value because maybe now they're more competitive, they're making more money, they're delighting their customers. And then that's back to you because you look good in doing that. And that could lead to bonuses, lead to promotion, and that kind of thing. And something I want to point out, and I mentioned it before, that lifelong learning. We don't want to look at certification as the end of our journey. We don't want to say, you know what, I got certified, I'm good. We should always be learning. And that's one of the things about IT. I've been at Cisco now just over 23 years. I've liked this area of technology around operations, like network operations, including automation, programmability of networks. And that didn't really exist when I started. So certainly network operations existed, and we were using technologies like Telnet and SNMP and then SSH to kind of manage these devices. But we were doing it all very manually. We were connecting to device by device. And operations has greatly improved, or I would say innovated and transformed with this idea of net DevOps, or the bringing in of automation, bringing in of programmability into this. So even something as kind of basic as network operations has transformed over the years, and we're always seeing that this industry is always going to be changing. So if you like that change, if you like being part of this kind of forefront of how we are, as a society are doing a lot of things now, this is the place for you. And you do have this opportunity to always be learning as you go, always be taking on those new skills. And Cisco, as part of our certification program, we have a program called Continuing Education that as you learn those new skills, you keep your certifications current, so you never lose that credential that's so valuable to you. So I hope you enjoyed this brief introduction to Cisco certifications. There's a lot more to come. You're on a fantastic journey. And I think if you're that person who likes being that agent of change, who likes solving those tough problems, who likes thinking like a detective, and who likes interconnecting people and things, you are absolutely in the right place. Thanks. I look forward to talking to you as a certified individual soon.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good updated virtual event series. Today, we'll be covering Cisco Secure Firewall SD-WAN solution overview and device onboarding. My name is Carlo Bobilas, Community Manager on the Cisco Learning Network. If you are tuning in but not have officially registered for the program, I highly encourage you to do so by scanning the QR code on your screen. It will be a good way to be notified of upcoming live streams and be informed when they are available on demand. Now, I just want to cover the Q&A portion of the event. We'll be using Slido for these activities, as well as for questions you have during the live event. One important note regarding Slido is that participation for Q&A is exclusively for the live audience. So if you're catching this session on demand at a later time, the Slido QR code might not be active, so just something to keep in mind. If you haven't done so already, you can log into Slido by scanning that QR code on your screen with your mobile device or by logging in directly through our live stream page. Last but not least, we'll be launching a survey at the end of this virtual event using Slido, and we would appreciate it if you could take a moment to fill it out and share with us any of your thoughts and feedback. So without any further delay, I'd like to introduce Technical Marketing Engineer, Technical Leader, Young Lee. Young, over to you.
Thank you, Carlos. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining Cisco Learning Network Technical Webinar. This webinar is the first installment of a 4-part series on Cisco Secure Firewall Threat Defense, SD-WAN capabilities, and use cases. My name is Yung Lee. I am a technical marketing engineer on Cisco Validated team. On the line with me are several of my esteemed colleagues from my team, as well as from Cisco Security Business Unit, who are joining us as Q&A panelists and are standing by to answer your questions during the webinars. So please don't be shy to ask your question in Slido. Here is our agenda for today. We'll begin with an introduction to FTD SD-WAN solution. Then we'll take a look at the supported platforms and its management options. Then we dive into the FMC device onboarding options and templates. We'll wrap it up with an introduction to Cisco Validated Lab, which we will be using for the live demo configuration throughout the series. At a high level, software-defined WAN or SD-WAN solution is simply based on the overlay VPN technology that can be deployed across any IP WAN transport and provide centralized management, advanced routing capabilities, intelligent application steering, as well as enhanced security. When we discuss VPN technology, we often talk about underlay and overlay network. So here is a recap of what is underlay and overlay. The underlay is simply the WAN network that is used to transport the VPN packets. It can be MPLS, the internet, 4G, 5G, and other technologies. The overlay network is the virtual private network that is built on top of the IP WAN transport in the form of IPsec VPN tunnels. As organizations expand their operations, ensuring secure and streamlined connectivity become paramount. To address these connectivity and security challenges, Cisco Secure Firewall Threat Defense introduces SD-WAN as a single box solution for both connectivity and security. And with release 7.6, we continue to expand FTD SD-WAN offering with a number of enhancements and features. These include device templates for deploying consistent configurations at scale, bulk provisioning with zero-touch provisioning to reduce branch onboarding time, enabling faster branch rollouts. We also added a new SD-WAN wizard to simplify and automate SD-WAN deployments and significantly reduce the configurations steps as well as simplify the creation and management of SD-WAN overlay networks. We offer a single dashboard for centralized management configuration as well as application visibility and performance monitoring. Direct internet access at the branch reduces the latency and enhances user experience. Lastly, the solution can seamlessly integrate with cloud-delivered security such as SASE and SSE. Cisco Umbrella is an example of SASE offering, while Cisco Secure Access is our SSE offering, and we can integrate with both of those solutions. Cisco Secure Firewall Threat Defense is the next generation firewall that combines the functionality of Cisco ASA Firewall Linux engine and the very popular Cisco Firepower SNOC engine into a single image called FTD, which run on top of a single operating system to provide enhanced network security up to layer 7. From a physical appliances perspective, we offer a broad range of physical appliances that you can see here. It can cover from deployment for IoT to small, medium businesses to large enterprise campuses, data centers, as well as service provider. Each platform offers different capacity in terms of throughput, IPS, and VPN performance. As a note, those that highlighted with the blue background, the light blue background, are the newer platforms that we recently introduced. We also offer virtual appliances, which can be deployed in private cloud as well as public cloud. The virtual platform are provided in different sizes, ranging from 10 megabit per second to up to 16 gigabit per second of throughput, depending on the virtual platform and performance tier selected for the licensing. On the private side, as you can see right here, we support a wide variety of hypervisor vendor, namely VMware, KVM, Nutanix, Cisco HyperPlex, as well as OpenStack. On the public side, we support all of the popular public cloud, AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, and Alibaba. For management purposes, we offer 3 options. Starting on the right, we have Cisco Secure Firewall Device Management, formerly known as Cisco Firepower Device Manager, or FDM for short. It is an on-box built-in management solution that can be used to manage a single FTD or a pair of FTDs running in an HA mode. Now, this option is suitable for small office, home office, or for those customers that do not need a centralized management solution such as the Cisco Firewall Management Center, or FMC, or a cloud-based solution such as Cisco Security Cloud Controls, formerly Cisco Defense Orchestrator, or CDO. On the right, we have the Cisco Secure Firewall Management Center, again formerly called Cisco Firepower Management Center, or FMC for short. This is an off-box centralized management solution that can be used to manage upward to 1,000 of FTD appliances. Now, you can deploy the FMC as a physical appliance, or you can deploy it as a virtual appliance. Virtual appliance is what we are using for our deployment. For those of you who choose to use cloud-based solution, we offer Cisco Security Cloud Control, or SCC for short. It is the rebrand of Cisco Defense Orchestrator, or CDO. Now, with this option, you have the ability to manage consistent policy across multiple deployments. In addition to that, the solution can manage the ASA, the Meraki MX, in addition to the FTDs. Now let's take a look at the device onboarding options. From an FMC perspective, we offer two onboarding options. The first one is the registration key, and the other one is called the serial number onboarding. With registration key onboarding, you can onboard with or without device template, and we can use that to onboard a single FTD device at a time. Serial onboarding, which is new with FMC release 7.6, provide us with the ability to do what we call zero-touch provisioning, or sometimes you will hear the term low-touch provisioning, or LTP, means similarly. It's basically the same. Now, you can use serial number onboarding with device template. That will give you the ability to onboard one or more FTD devices at once. Or you can use it without device template to onboard a single FTD device. From a support perspective, you need to run the FTD version 7.4.1 or later at the branch size. And the platform currently supported are the 1K, the 2K, and the 3K. Now let's walk over the process of registration key onboarding. It is a two-step process. First, on the FTD, using CLI, you need to add the FMC using either the hostname or IP address, a registration key, which is basically just alphanumeric set of characters up to, I believe, 36. And optionally, you can provide a unique NAC ID. Again, it's just an alphanumeric set of characters. Again, it can be up to, I believe, again, 36 characters. Now, you will need the NAC ID if one of your devices is behind the NAC, either the FMC or the FTD. And optionally, you can provide a displaced name for the FMC. Next, what you need to do is you need to configure the management interface. Now, for most branches, that management interface will likely to be an in-band management interface, which you will need to configure. Or if you have an out-band management interface, you can use the out-band management interface to configure the connection to the FMC. Once that is done, on the FMC UI, you can navigate to device management, and click on Add. Here you have the option to add the device with or without templates. And you will need to provide the FTD, hostname, and IP addresses. It's actually optional. And you provide a display name, the registration key that configured in step number 1, the unique NAC ID, access control policy, and optionally, you can assign the licenses. Once you do that, the device will be onboarded. The process takes about 5 to 6 minutes, usually. We're going to do that live in one of the demos. Now, for serial number onboarding workflow, it is a 3-step process. First, you need to integrate or onboard the FMC to Cisco Security Cloud. Now, if you don't have an account, you can sign up for an account for free to use with the serial number onboarding process or zero-touch provisioning. The next step is to initiate the FTD onboarding using the device template on the FMC. As mentioned previously, the requirement is the FTD must be at version 7.4.1 or higher. The FTD must be running factory default configuration, and DHCP is required on the WAN uplink. Once you do that, then you can cable and power on the FTD. Now, just a note, the FTD data interface must have IP reachability to both SCC and the FMC. Now, let's take a look at the new feature we introduced in 7.6 called the device template. The device template is simply a collection of configuration of interfaces, routing, DHCP, VPN, and security policy. We put it all together into a comprehensive device template on the FMC. And then you can assign that template to one or more devices. Now, you can do this for onboarding, or you can do this with devices already onboarded. Now, let's take a closer look at the workflow to create the device template. It is a 3-step process again. First, create a template. Second, configure the template. And third, apply the template. From a template creation, you have 3 options. You can create a new template using the template wizard. It walks you through the process. Or you can generate a template from an existing device. You can also export and import an existing template. Then you will configure the template. Now, what can you configure in a template? All of those values that I showed you in the previous slide. You can configure interfaces. You can configure DHCP. You can configure VPN. You can configure policy. Now, all of those configurations will be combined into a single template. And what you can do is you can define variables specific to the device, or you can define what we call network object overrides so that you can reuse the template with multiple devices. The last thing you need to do is to map the template to the device platform. Again, we support the 1K, the 2K, and the 3K. And finally, you can apply the device template using CSV file to fill out the variables the network object overrides, and the device serial number. And again, you can apply it during the device onboarding, or you can apply it to a registered device on the FMC. Now, let's take a quick look at our Cisco validated lab. We are going to be using this lab to build the end state of the lab. As you can see here, we have on the top 2 sites. We call it the hub site. The first one on the left here, New York City, or NYC for short. And on the right, we have Newark, New Jersey, or NNJ. Now, at New York, we have an FMC that has been deployed, and we have an integration to Cisco Security Cloud Control, formerly the CDO. Okay. At both of these locations, we have a pair of Firepower 3105 running as an HA pair. We have 2 service providers. On the bottom, we have 4 of our branches, 2 of which are already onboarded, highlighted in the green. Starting on the far left, we have Providence, Rhode Island, or PRI. It is a single device. It is a Firepower 1010 with a single ISP. We are going to use zero-touch provisioning to onboard this device shortly. Next to it is Worcester, Massachusetts, or WMA. It is a single Firepower 1120. Next, we have New Haven, Connecticut, or NCT. It is a pair of Firepower 1120 running as an HA pair. And last but not least, we have an FTD at Manchester, Connecticut, or MCT. We are going to use the registration key to onboard this device because zero-touch provisioning does not support FTD. Okay. Now, some notes about our lab. We are running version 7.6 on both the FMC and the FTD. The SD-WAN overlay and routing is not configured yet. Okay, we will do that on our second installment using the SD-WAN wizard, and how we're going to show you how you can enable LAN side routing and redistribute them into the WAN side and vice versa to achieve end-to-end reachability. At our hub side, we will use the dedicated management interface for communication to the FMC. And we are going to use the data interface for management at all of our branches through the internet. Each location will have a block of IP address in the private network 10, with the second octet being kind of like the site ID for us. So for example, at New York, we have 10.100/16. At New Jersey, we have 10.200/16. At the bottom, beginning with POI, we have 1071.16, WMA 1072/16, NCT 1073/16, and lastly, at MCT, we have 1074/16. Now, at each location at the branches, we will have a Windows 10 client that will have an IP address in the form of 10 site ID .120.50 that we are going to be using for connectivity testing purposes. As I said earlier, the green border location has already been onboarded, and we are going to onboard during this webinar the two that are highlighted in red here. POI, we are going to onboard using ZTP, and the MCT, we're going to onboard using the registration key. Here's a double click into POI location. As I mentioned, it is going to be a single firewall, single internet connection. Some of the specific information about the IP addresses, and particularly the serial number. We need that in order to perform the zero-touch provisioning. Now, one note here is that this WAN link here will be DHCP, and we are using the private addressing space. And this ISP1 CPE here will provide the NAC functionality to reach the FMC as well as the SCC. On the LAN side, we have a layer 2, layer 3 device here that will be used to connect, the LAN side to the firewall. Now, the ZTP onboarding workflow that we're going to go through during the live demo is outlined right here. The integration with SCC is already done, but I will show you where you can do that. We already obtained the device serial number, and obviously the device is currently running the default config. It is connected to our network, but we kept the interfaces down so that we can show you the onboarding process. We will begin on the FMC with the creation of a brand new device template. Then we will apply that template to the FTD, and we'll power. It's already been powered on. So what we're going to do is we're going to unshut the upstream interface so that it can go through the onboarding process, and we'll observe that. After we onboard, we will go through the post onboarding validation, and we're going to show you how to add additional config onto the template after the device is onboarded as well. On the second demo, we are going to onboard MCT using registration key because it is an FTD-V. And information about this location is right here. One thing that I wanted to mention to you is that on the uplink here, we are using DHCP. However, we are using public IPs, okay? So just to show you the differences. And we support both, the device behind the NAC, or we can connect the device directly using the public IP. Here is the workflow. It is a 2-step process. The first step we're going to do is we're going to add the FMC on the FTD-V, and then we're going to configure the data interface for management purposes. Once we do that, we will add the FTD to the FMC using the device management interface. All right, with that said, let me get out of presentation mode and switch over to our demo. Okay, so what you see here is our FMC, and we are running version 7.6.0. Real quick, I'm going to show you where you can do the integration with Cisco Security Cloud Control by going to here. For the interest of time, we already did the integration, but if the integration have not been done, all you really need to do is just click here. This button here will say enable Cisco Cloud Security. When you do that, it will cross-launch to CDO or SCC. And then you just go through the workflow to validate what we call the authentication code. And once you do that, all you need to do is just click on save here, and that's it. Now, one thing to note is that making sure that zero touch provisioning is checked here, and it is enabled by default. All right. So let me switch over to the security cloud control interface, right? So this is the home page when you first log in, right? As you can see here, we have 7 devices that are currently online, okay? And if I switch back over here and go to devices, device management, you can see that we have 7 devices here, okay? Now, under the administration firewall management center, you will see that we have our FMC here. It is running version 7.6. It currently has 7 devices. It is an on-prem FMC as opposed to CD FMC, which is the SaaS solution that we talked about earlier, right? And it is currently in sync with SCC. All right. Now, if we click here, you will see that these are the devices that are currently on the FMC. We have 3 pairs of HA devices here, and then a single devices here for a total of 7. All right. So now let's switch back over to the FMC. And before we do anything with it, I just wanted to show you that we have the console connection to the Firepower 1010 that are currently running in the default factory default configuration. All right. And the only thing that we did here is we connect the interfaces, but we have not enabled the upstream interface. We will do that next. Okay. So back to this page, if you click on add here, you can see that you have 2 options here. The first option here is to onboard using registration key without template. The second option here, if you click on it, you have 2 options. You can onboard the device using template if you select this, or you can onboard the device using serial number, and you can do that with a single device or multiple devices. Okay, we are going to do it using serial number. Okay, but before we do that, we need to create the templates. Okay, so let me cancel out this and show you how to create a template. If you go here and you click on template management, right? Here I have several templates that I already created here, right? We're going to go ahead and add a device template. Here you need to provide a name, just to keep it simple, demo. You can give it a description, and you need to select an access control policy. We will be using this access control policy here, right? That's all you need to do here. Click on OK. It will take just a few seconds for the template to be created. Once the template is created, then we'll go in and we'll do the configuration. Device template is created. We'll click on the edit here to begin the edit process. Now, it will show you the interfaces tab first, but we're not going to do that just yet. The first thing we need to do here is, because we are using the data interface, we need to enable it first. We click on OK, and you can see here the changes has been successfully applied. Now we'll navigate back to the interface, right? And let me bring back the PowerPoint real quick just to remind you, right? We are going to use Ethernet 1/1 at our upstream interface or WAN interface, and then we will use the Ethernet 1/A sub interface for the LAN side. Okay, so let me go back over here, right? So the first thing we need to do is we need to go in here, and we need to edit. You need to edit the interface, right? You can give it a logical name. We use outside 1 for our ISP1 and outside 2 for our ISP2. So I'm going to say ISP1. You can provide a description here, something like outside ISP1 or something to that extent. Okay. You need to give it a security zone, right? For us, we simply call it outside zone, right? For the IP address, we will keep it at DHCP, okay? For path monitoring, I always like to enable the IP-based monitoring here, right? We'll talk more about it on the third module when we talk about policy-based routing with application awareness and all of that. And lastly, for manager access, we need to enable it. Now, if you did not enable it in the template settings, when you try to do this, you will get an error. Okay, so let's go ahead and save it. Now you can see that the interface will inform you that you have changes that are unsafe. Now you can save it now, or you can continue on with additional configuration. My recommendation is making sure you save it as you go along. Okay. Next, what we need to do is we need to configure the LAN side interface. Remember that we are not using Ethernet 1/2. So what we can do here is we can delete it, and we can add an additional interface here, right? We are going to be using 1/8. So I'm going to ask 1/8. Now, once we added it, then we need to go in and we need to edit it. Here, all I need to do is just give it a name, a logical name. Let's just call it something like inside trunk, because it is a trunk interface. We need to enable it. Optionally, you can give it a description, something like inside trunk. If I can type. Okay, that is all you need to do for this one interface. Okay. Once you do that, then you can create a sub interface. Right. Give it a name. We'll call it inside. And this segment is going to be connected to our employee segment. So let's just call it employee. Right. Make sure enable it. Give it the description, something like inside employee segment. Okay. We need to give it a security zone. So it's going to be inside zone for us. We need to select an interface. So it's going to be Ethernet 1/8 that we created earlier. We need to give it a sub interface ID. In this case, we are using 100 as a VLAN ID. Okay. For IP address here, we're going to use static IP. And you see that there's a little kind of X symbol here. That means it's going to be a variable. If you need to create a variable, all you need to do is just click here. And for variable, you need to precede it with a $sign. and something like variable name or something like that, right? Making sure that you name it something makes sense. We already have one we created earlier. We called it Inside Employee Interface IP. So I'm going to select that, okay? And that is all you need for this. So I'm going to click on OK. All right. Now, you can also configure things like routing. We will do that in our next module, so we're going to skip that for now. We can configure DHCP for zero-touch provisioning. We need to configure what we call dynamic DNS. This is the requirement, okay? We'll go in here and let me save the changes first so the interface will show up, okay? We go in here and we need to create a DNS update method, right? We'll click on add. And there are three options. We don't really have DDNS from our provider, so we're going to use the FMC instead. So I'm going to select that. We need to give it a name. I just simply call it FMC. And you need to create set up the update interval. So for quick update, I'm going to just set it to 1 minute here. Okay, click on OK. Next, we need to define the interface setting for DNS, right? From here, we can click on Add. We need to pick an interface, which we created earlier, which is the outside interface, okay? The method name is the method we just created in the previous step. And here you need to specify a variable for the host name. Again, if you don't have one, just click here and set up a variable. We already have one, and we simply call it host name. Okay, click on OK. Now we are done with this. We can click on save. And if you already have a VPN topology, you can add it here. We don't have one yet, so I'm going to skip that for now, and we'll go to the template setting. At the template setting, you can add the licenses here. The essential license is basically come with the platform. If you have license like malware, IPS, or URL, you can add it, enable it here, or you can have, all the licenses you can enable it here by click on the edit button, okay? And that is pretty much, we leave pretty much everything at the default for the moment. From the template parameters, these are the two variables that you seen I added earlier. Now, if you have additional network object override, you can add it here. We don't. So I'm going to cancel out that. And the last thing that we need to do here is to map it to the supported model. So we can click on Add Model Mapping here. And as you can see up here, these are the different models that we support for the zero-touch provisioning, okay? For us, it's going to be a 1010. So we'll select that. You can see that it's satisfying the templates here, so everything looking good. We need to save, okay? So everything is looking good. If we go back to the template, we see that we have a demo template with currently 0 associated devices. Okay, so we're going to proceed to the next step, which is the device, adding the device to the device, the FMC inventory, right? So we're going to click on Add. Device using the wizard. We'll select serial number and click on Next. Now, if you onboard a single device without template, you can do it right here, okay? But we are going to use template, so we're going to select the device template. We need to select the template, which is the demo. And you can see here that it show up as a Firepower 1010. Okay. Now we can click on next. You will be presented with the sample template CSV. This is where you're going to download and fill in the variables, right? So we're going to download it. Okay. Once you download it, you can open it. These are the information that we need to provide. We can provide the display's name, the serial number, the admin password, the device group, and the inside employee interface IP. In the interest of time, I already have one that I downloaded earlier. And let me just show it to you real quick. It's just a CSV file. All you need to do is just fill in the blank. Okay. The main thing here is the serial number. Okay. That needs to be correct for that device. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select one and just drop it here. And here you go. You can see that the display's name, the serial number, the admin password is kind of like blank out. Spoke is the device group that we want to assign it to. By default, the hostname variable will be a concatenation between the serial number dot local, right? And this is the interface IP for the internal interface. Now, everything looking good here, we can say add device. Okay. Now, you can see right here, the device is added and it's going to wait for the onboarding process. Okay. Now, if we switch over here and refresh this, we also see that FMC updated SCC and is currently waiting. So all we really need to do at this point on is to enable the upstream interface. Okay, so for that, I have a script that allow us to do that here. So I'm going to go ahead and enable that interface. All right, so that interface is enabled. Now you will not see a whole lot of information coming off of this interface here, which is the console of the Firepower 1010, right? But I will leave it here. What you will see is the process begins right here on the SCC. If you click on the device and workflow here, you will see that it will go through different stages of onboarding, right? And the whole process will take roughly about 20-25 minutes for the process to finish, starting with SCC and then the FMC for the device configuration portion, etc. Now, we're not going to stay here and watch this. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and initiate the registration key onboarding for MCT. All right. So with that, let me switch back to our PowerPoint. Here is MCT details, right? It's a single device. It's an FTDV. It will be named MCT Firewall -01. Over here is our registration key onboarding workflow. First, we'll work on the FTD COI, adding the FMC, configure the data management interface. Then we'll go to the FMC to add the FTD to the FMC inventory to onboard it. Okay. Now it's timeout. So let me show you. We have a new device we just added. and no configuration. So let me log into it real quick to show you. All right, from here, I can do a show managers. No manager configure. From here, I can also do a show interface IP brief. You can see that no interface configuration, everything is currently administratively down. Okay. Now, the first step here is for us to configure the FMC here. So to do that, we do configure I lost my train of thought. Configure manager add. Okay. Now you can put the host name if you have DNS, or you can use IP address. Our FMC doesn't have a DNS entry, so I'm going to use the IP address. It is 192.133.243.243. Next, you need to specify a registration key. I was right. The registration key can be up to 36 characters. So to keep it simple, we just call it Cisco, right? Because our FMC is behind that. What I need to do is need to specify a unique NAC ID. So I normally just use the name of the location, in this case, MCT, as a NAC ID, right? And optionally, you can give it a display name for the FMC. We'll just simply call it FMC. All right, click on Add. All right, that's the first step. The second step is we need to configure the data interface for connectivity to the FMC. And that interface is going to be our gigabit Ethernet 00 for the outside, and then we'll configure later on the gigabit 01 for the inside interface. Okay, so we'll go back here and we do configure network management dash data interface. And we'll walk through the wizard to configure the information. First, you need to specify the data interface for management. In this case, it will be gigabit Ethernet 0/0. Okay, you need to give it a logical name. In our case, it will be connecting to ISP2, so we call it outside 2. Okay, we are using DHCP, and we are going to go ahead and keep the default umbrella DNS server. We do not need any dynamic DNS server. In just a moment, the interface will be connected. It will get an IP address, and we can go back to FMC, and then we can add the device to inventory. While we're waiting, let's just check back here real quick to see if there's any update here. You can see the first step is done. Now we go on to the next step, which is the setup step, easy setup, okay? Right, the interface is configured. So if we go back and we do a show manager again, you will see that this device now is configured with the FMC, okay? And if we go back and we do a show interface brief, we see that the interface have acquired a DHCP address. Okay, so everything looking good on this end. Now let's navigate back to our device management page here. You can see that this POI device is still go through its provisioning and etc. Right? So to add a device using the registration key with our template, we will use the add device here. Okay. The first thing you need to do is to provide the host name or IP address. It is really optional, right? So, if you want to put the IP address of that we seen here, you can, right? I'm going to leave it blank for now. Okay. We'll give it a display name. We'll call it MCT-FW01, right? The registration key that we set earlier was CISCO, all lowercase. We need to provide an access control policy. We will use this side-to-side access control policy. Optionally, you can select the performance tier here for your FTDV, right? We're not going to do that at the moment. And then you can also assign the licenses here. We'll do it later, okay? Now, we need to provide a unique NAC ID that we set up earlier, which we call MCT, okay? Now, once we click on register here, the device will be added to the FMC, right? And it will go through the onboarding process, which we can observe. If we go to the notification and then we'll select tasks, you can see that the registration has been started here. This process will take about 5 to 6 to do is need to establish a secure connection from the FMC to the FTD for the onboarding process. Now it will go through, this establishment of the connection is going to go through the device discovery. It's going to go through, now it's going through the device discovery here. And then it's going to go through the health check and the device configuration. As I say, it's going to take about 5 minutes for the process to be completed. Now, you will not see a whole lot from here. Actually, it just come out on me again. It's just not really a whole lot of information that you can glean from here, as well as from the physical appliance. We don't see a whole lot coming, information from here. Everything you need to look at is on either SSC or on the FMC, okay? So let's refresh this to see if we finished. Yes, we finished the second step, so it's always good, right? So we are now in the process of registering the device to the FMC. This is when the FMC doing some work right here. Okay. And you can always, kind of like hover over this and you can see, the process here. All right, let's just go back to monitor the MCT onboarding, right? It's almost finished. In the meantime, if anyone have any questions that I can answer live, I'd be happy to take the questions.
Thank you very much, Young. If you would like to participate, you can go ahead and scan the QR code that's on your screen. This will take you to the Slido Q&A page where you can go ahead and submit your questions. All right, let's take a look to see if we have any questions. Let's see here. Question did come in, and I can definitely take that. It's if this session will be recorded. Yes, it is being recorded, and it will be made available on demand. We'll make sure to provide those details. You'll be emailed if you've registered, but at the end, you can actually go to the post-event discussion thread over on the Cisco Learning Network. If you are on Slido and you click on the top left, there's in the navigation bar, there's an option to view links and resources. So we list both the live stream along with the post-event discussion thread on there. So we'll make sure to post the link to the recording there as well, along with the downloadable PDF. Okay. Young, I do have another question that came in. Maybe you can answer it. Let me go ahead and approve that one really quick. Basic question, since I am new to SEC and FMC. What's the purpose of SEC and FMCV management plane? Do we require both to onboard and use FTD firewalls?
FMC stands for Cisco Secure Firewall Management Center. It is a centralized management center that can be used to manage anywhere between 2 to 1,000 FTDs, right? It is an on-prem solution. In terms of Cisco Security Cloud Control, it is you can think of it our cloud deliver FMC, right? However, in order to use the zero-touch provisioning from the on-prem FMC, we need to do the integration to Cisco SCC in order for the redirection to occur. And as you can see here, the only purpose that we are using the SCC is just for the redirection, right? However, the device will be onboarded onto the on-prem FMC and be managed from there. Hopefully that answered the question.
Thank you very much, Young. And it looks like our moderator and panelists actually answered as well, too. And then just to kind of showcase that answer, it's FMCV is the privately owned management center, which can be deployed in private or public cloud. Security Cloud Control is a cloud-based management solution which combines management of FTD along with ASA and additional security products. So you can use either one of them and don't need both. So thank you very much for that. All right. Let's see. Next question I have here is there a place to configure NetFlow for SNA?
Hey, Dinesh, do you want to take that questions for me? Be online.
So Dinesh is going to go ahead and take that question via the Q&A panel. Thank you very much. And let me go ahead and place it on there. A question to come in, and I can take that. It's basically they're asking, this is high-level stuff. Yes, it is high-level stuff. Thank you. But something definitely you can refer to as you go through your Cisco journey. Definitely not level, not CCNA level. But once you start to get into it, you can definitely progress, and you most likely will to touch these technologies. So thank you for that. All right, let's see if there's any other questions.
Well, it's taken a little bit longer than I anticipated for the MCT to finish the discovery.
Perfect. All good. Live demos usually are like that, so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. So there's no other questions at the moment, Young.
All right, look like FMC is looking good. Let me double check real quick here. It looks like it's showing me green here, but it's still going through something here. Let me check on the COI here. So. All right, so look like it is completed, as you can see here from the registration perspective. Okay, but I guess it's just going through some additional step here from a GUI perspective. Right, so we'll give it just another minute or two here. And look like the POI location is also looking good here. It's going through some final step here. All right, so let me go back over here real quick just to make sure. Yep, everything looks good. All right, let's go back here. Let's just click on it to see. All right, look like this online. Here, as I can see, right, we have the Gigabit Ethernet 00 is green up. Okay. Let's see if let's say that now it is up, and if we wanted to configure an additional interface for the inside interface, from this page, all we need to do is click on here, and we can configure the interface. We'll call this one inside employee. We need to enable it. We'll give it the description optional, right? So we can call it inside employee segment, right? Give it a security zone, this one inside. IP address, here we're going to use static IP. Let me switch over real quick just so you can see. All right, it's going to have an IP of 10.74.254.254/24. Okay, and that is all we need. So we're going to go ahead and say okay, and we need to save. Okay, now once you do that, you need to push the config, but before we push the config, let's configure another interface, the loopback interface, right? So here we can say loopback 1, for example, right? We need to provide an ID and an IP address. In this case, it's going to be 10.74.255.1/32. Okay, we'll save it. All right. Now, once that is done, if you click here, you will see that MCT is ready for deployment here. We'll go ahead and deploy it. When it's completed, we'll go through the final validation. is completed. So let's switch back to refresh this page. All right, you can see that the inside interface is up, the loopback is also up. Okay, now from here, what we can do is we can navigate to the device here, right? And we can click on COI here, and then we can do something like show interface IP brief, just to make sure all of the interfaces are up and running. Here you can see the outside interface, the inside interface, and the loopback. Okay, they're all up. Now let's just do a quick connectivity test. We will ping to the inside first. So we'll 10.74.254.1. We're able to ping our LAN side router, which is at the dot one here, right? And let's ping to the outside, because we need that connectivity in order to establish the SD-WAN overlay in the next module. So let's just ping Google DNS. Yes, we can get to the outside, and obviously we can get to our loopback, right? So 10.71.255.1. Oh, I typed in the wrong IP. It's supposed to be 1074. And of course, we can ping it. All right. So everything is looking good from a perspective of MCT, right? Now let's go back and check on our PRI location. So look like PRI is also good to go. So let's just click on it. All right. Now we have our outside interface up, we have our inside interface up, and we have our logical interface up as well. Okay. Now from here, let's say that if we wanted to add another interface, right? We don't do it here. Rather, we're going to do it at the template, right? So we need to go back to the template here, right? Now you can see that the template have one device associated to it. That device is the PRI device that we onboard. The status is in sync, successful apply on this day and time. Okay. Now we go back to the template. Let's say that we decided to add a excuse me, another interface to it. We will add it. Okay. And from here we add a loopback interface. We will simply call it loopback 1, right, with the ID of 1. We provide an IP here, right? But because we are using template, this is going to be a variable, and you can create a variable here, or we already have one defined here. We simply call it loopback 1 interface IP, right? We're going to select that. We save the changes. Now, once we do that, what we need to do next is we need to go to the template and to the associated device. You can see it is now out of sync, right? So we need to apply the template, and because we added a new variable, we need to fill in the new variable. This one is going to be 10.71.255.1/32 is our convention for loopback. We'll apply that. you will get a prompt saying that whatever you apply here will override the existing configuration on the device. Are you sure you want to do it? Yes, I do. Right? It will take just a moment for that to apply. And you can see now the sync status is back in sync. So that means that everything is good. And then we can go back over here and then we can deploy the changes. Once the changes have been deployed, we'll go through the validation again. At this point, we will not be able to do end-to-end reachability because we have not established the SD-WAN overlay, nor we configure routing. That will be the next module where we're going to show you how to establish the SD-WAN overlay using the SD-WAN wizard. Then we'll show you how to configure LAN-side routing and do the redistribution. It's finishing up. Let me finish up the validation here, and then we'll have about 10 minutes for for Q&A. Yeah, just take another minute to finish. I mean, another few seconds to finish here. There you go. It's completed. So now let's go through the validation, right? Go back to the device. And first, let me show you this real quick. Here on the SCC, you can see that all of the process have been completed. The last step here is basically the cleanup on the SCC, right? Now, once that is done, if you go back over here, you can see that the device is now showing up here, and it is currently syncing with FMC, okay? We go back over to our FMC, we can see that this device is here, right? We can click on it. It will bring us to this interface. As you can see here, we have the external interface, the internal interfaces here, and then the look back at that we just added previously, right? Now we go over here. We'll show you a couple of things here. The first thing you will notice is that this device is associated with the template code demo that we created live earlier, right? And down here is another thing that you might want to enable is the ability to do auto rollback, which is a good feature to enable, right? What it does is that when you try to do a configuration and push the configuration to the device and somehow you lost the connectivity to the device, with this auto rollback enable, the device will wait for a number of minutes. In this case, the default is 20 minutes, and it will roll back to the previous configuration. This is a good stuff to enable, right? You can enable right in here. Click on this, and you can tune the time here, and then save it. Okay. All right. So let me go into the CLI here. Right. First thing again, just to make sure all of the interfaces are up. Right. So you can see the interfaces here is up for the outside. The inside trunk and the sub interface are up, and the look back is up. Okay. From here, we can do a quick validation. We can ping 10.71.254.1, which is our internal router, and it is reachable. We can ping to the outside. And we can get to the outside, so that's always good. And we can also check the loopback, 1071.255.1. And we can get to the loopback. So this concludes our webinar for device onboarding and templates. We hope that you found this to be useful, and we hope to see you in the next installment where we go through the SD-WAN wizard as well as routing. Carlo, back to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Young. Great overview. Again, at this time, we'll go ahead and take some questions live. So if you haven't done so already, you can log into Slido by scanning that QR code on the screen with your mobile device or by logging in directly through our live stream page. Okay, let's take a look to see if there's any other questions. There's one question here which Dinesh actually answered. I wanted to kind of highlight. Let's see if I can find that one. Let's see. One of our audience members asks, is there a Cisco simulator or demo to practice this configuration? And basically, you can deploy and configure VFTD and VFMC devices from the Cisco software download page, and you can set it up pretty much in a private or public cloud for testing. And then partners can actually schedule the lab, which is called the Cisco Secure Firewall Lab 7.6 at dcloud.cisco.com for testing the firewall scenarios, including SD-WAN and other threats, RAVPN, etc., whatever features. I did have a follow-up question to that. So if someone were to have or download the VFTD and the VFMC devices from the Cisco software page, they would need the proper Cisco entitlement. Is that correct, Young?
Yes.
Okay. And then I don't know if you have any experience, but if you have used Cisco Modeling Labs, one can technically import those devices into Cisco Modeling Labs, build their own topology, and test that way as well.
That is my understanding, but I'm not very experienced with the Cisco Modeling Lab. So gotcha. I don't know the detail, but I think it can be done.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. I don't see any other questions. Before we wrap up, though, Young, do you have any closing thoughts for our audience?
No, I just want to say thank you very much for attending. And again, we hope to see you all again in our next installment, which is very exciting with the new SD-WAN wizard. And you can see how easy we make it to deploy an overlay.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Young, for this great session and sharing your knowledge and expertise with our audience. I also do want to thank all our panelists for answering all those questions in the back end. I hope that everyone found great value in today's presentation. Now, I wanted to take a moment to cover some quick items. Join us next time on February 20th as we'll explore deploying Cisco Secure Firewall SD-WAN overlay topology using SD-WAN Wizard and enabling site-to-site routing. So that's the next upcoming session in this series. And if you haven't done so already, please register to receive email reminders and easily add this session along with the others to your calendar and be notified of the recordings on demand. Again, you can scan that QR code. There should be a border around my, my window where you can register for all future Cisco validated virtual events. Okay, lastly, let me go ahead and launch the survey. So the survey, we do encourage you to take the time to participate. Let us know how we did, how we're doing, and future topics you'd like to discuss or for us to discuss in future sessions. So that is on right now. It is within Slido, so definitely if you haven't logged in, scan that QR code and do so. Thanks again. I just want to Again, thank our presenters and all of our attendees for joining us today. I hope that you all have a great day, and we will see you next time.